find the inverse of this function. We have 2x plus 3 all over x minus 2. And we also want to find the domain of each. So remember, there's a four-step method in order to find the inverse. The first thing we do is replace f of x with y. Okay, so let me do that. I'm going to call y equals 2x plus 3 over x minus 2. Okay. The second thing we do is replace, right? Every y becomes an x, and every x becomes a y. All right, now in this case, so this y will become an x. Okay, and then here, both of these x's will become a y. So we get 2y plus 3 over y minus 2. Okay, so that's the second step. The third step is the hardest step, right? Now we want to get y by itself. Okay, we have to isolate y, but the problem here is that there's two y's in the function, right? So the first thing we'll do is we'll just cross multiply these, or we'll bring this y minus 2 up to the left, okay? So when we cross multiply, we get x times y minus 2 equals 2y plus 3. Let's go ahead and distribute through the x, right? We get xy minus 2x equals 2y plus 3. Okay. Now here's the key step, right? There's a y on each side. So the idea is, okay, let's get all the y's on one side and anything without a y on the other side. Now, it doesn't really matter which side you want to do it on, but I'm going to subtract this 2y over to the left. Okay. And then I'm going to add this 2x, well, to both sides, right? Not just to the right, but we're going to add it to both sides, right? Notice what happens here. Okay, notice what happens here. Okay, well, first of all, these cancel and these cancel, so what do we end up with? On the left side, we get xy minus 2y, and on the right side, notice what we get. We get 3 plus 2x, right? So by doing so, there's these two terms, both have a y, they're on the same side. And then the other side of the equal sign, none of the terms have a y in them. So that's good, right? Now we can distribute out the y, and that is the key step here, right? Once we distribute out the y, we get y times x minus 2 equals 3 plus 2x. And then we'll just divide it out. We get y, divide out x minus 2 to both sides, and we get this, right? So now the last step, this is sort of the trivial step, right? But this is the inverse. Okay, so we'll just replace that with the inverse notation here, and we'll get this function here. Okay, so this is the inverse. But, oh, wait a minute. This is the original function, right? What do you notice about these two? Wait a minute, they're exactly the same. Okay. Okay. And that can happen, actually, right? So the function can be the inverse of itself. And what is a domain? Right? So the domain is going to be what? Well, we know that denominators cannot be 0, so we can't plug in 2 down here, right? So the domain will be all real numbers except 2, right? So remember, this is how we write that domain. We're just going to exclude 2 from all real numbers, right? So that's why we use the parentheses here.